Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so let's talk about NBA Youngboy. Man, this is crazy. So it looks like it's official now. NBA Youngboy's bond is officially been denied, man. So the rapper, he's going to have to remain in jail without bond until his trial in this Fed case, man. Now, this is a crazy situation because there's a lot of details that came out in the news report today, and it talks specifically about the judge that revoked his bond, man. And it talks about how California, pretty much shot him a leg up and tried to give him a chance with the $54,000 bond. But man, Louisiana wasn't hearing it. They wasn't playing with it. And it looks like it's going to end up bad for NBA Youngboy, at least until he runs the trial. Now, before we get into the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, NBA Youngboy, man, so let's get into it, man. So there's a news story that kicked off, and there's even more that took place this weekend. They just filed the paperwork officially this morning, and it's public knowledge. It's a federal case, so, I had to go and peruse through the documents, man. I read that whole thing, and I found out a couple of things that, man, they didn't talk about in this news story, but let's go over it. So the news story from the local news there in Baton Rouge says this. Judge orders Baton Rouge rapper NBA Youngboy remain jailed without bond. So basically saying that he needs to stay in jail until his trial, right? Now the story continues. It says, a judge has decided that Baton Rouge rapper Kentrell Gaulden, known to most fans as NBA Youngboy, will remain behind bars until further notice. Now Now that's pretty simple, right? You're like, forget it, man. It looks like it's over for NBA Youngboy. He's gonna be holding it down in the jail cell for a while. Now the story also continues and said Judge Shelley D. Dick, I'm not making that up, revoked the rapper's $540,000 bond, which had been granted in the Central District of California last month. And like I said earlier, California, man, they threw him some bail for real. Like, no pun intended. They said, hey man, we'll give you some bond. We'll give you a bond at that amount, that $540K, even though he ran allegedly, let me clean that up. Even though, they allegedly found a weapon in the car, they still was going to give him bond, man. The federal judge. I'm like, man, did he sign a mixtape for her? But regardless, man, it was a good look. Well, Louisiana wasn't playing with it, and they don't play with rappers, period. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Now, the story continues to say Gaulden was placed in federal custody on March 22nd after his alleged involvement in a California police pursuit. The 21-year-old was wanted on an outstanding warrant related to a 2020 drugs and weapons related charge. Or it says charges, but you know what I mean. A California magistrate judge granted Gaulden pre-trial release that was contingent on Louisiana's approval. Now, based on this story, and I'm going to stop there, obviously, Louisiana said nobody, man. This judge, Shelley D. Dick, that's a crazy coincidence that's her name. Basically said no bueno, man. It's a no-go. Now it continues. The March 22nd police pursuit occurred when Los Angeles police attempted to pull the rapper over due to an outstanding federal warrant. A short pursuit ensued until the rapper's car came to a halt and he proceeded to flee the scene on foot. And it said, clear here, okay, if they want to know more about his arrest history and all that. Now, to be honest, I cover NBA Youngboy a lot. We talk about NBA Youngboy so much, it's ridiculous. I've done numerous stories about this case since his arrest. The other situation that he had with it, it looked like the feds had been looking at him. We even talked about the fact that the lead U.S. states, the U.S. attorney or whatever, the USAA or AUSA or whatnot, their specialty is organized crime. So they were looking at 4K Trey, NBA gang or NBA or whatever as some type of organized crime. You could put that together and deduce those facts, right? But if you look at this case, man, so now let's look at the actual documents, man, for the case. And if you look at that, you find some interesting things out. Now, the court document that was filed today and that was signed by the judge, Shelley D. Dick, or whatever you want to call her, man. That's her real name. It says Chief Judge Shelley D. Dick of the United States District Court, Middle District of Louisiana. And if you look at this document, it's a 7-page document. Like I said, it was just filed today, but it was signed Thursday night, right? So this was old news going into the weekend, right? And a couple other people had, predicted this or whatnot. And it looks like, man, everybody was spot on, because if you look at the factual background, they referenced the case or the arrest back in September 28th of 2020. And then they go on to talk about on March 10th, a grand jury in the Middle District of Louisiana handed down an indictment charging Gaulden with known possession of a firearm as a felon in violation of this firearm code or whatnot. And then they talk about how he was apprehended in California. And if you continue down on the document, you'll see a couple of different things, man. So they talk about the analysis of the situation, and then they have like a conclusion that talks about like why did they come to this situation, or this decision, and how. Now, one of the most interesting things is what they brought to the court, and that the court believed. They said basically they don't believe that NBA Youngboy will stop trying to get a gun. Now, in this document, they basically made the case that, due to his past of always trying to get a hold of a weapon, that he's some kind of nuisance or danger to society. Now, this is what it officially says. It says, Gaulden has demonstrated a pattern of violence that indicates he is a danger to the community, and the United States has carried its burden of demonstrating by clear and convincing evidence that no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the safety of any other person and the community. Now, that was right before the conclusion. Now, in the conclusion, they say this: in accordance with the court's order granting the motion of review of magistrate judge's bond decision, Gaulden is ordered detained pending trial without prejudice to his re-urging argument in support of pretrial release, should it become appropriate. Signed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 1 April 2021 by Chief Judge Shelley D. Dick. So, man, that was the nail in the coffin as far as NBA Youngboy getting any type of bond before going to trial, man. Which is, that's what it is. It is what it is. So in this document, they basically break down how they deduce that. And they factored the fact that, they feel like he'll still be trying to get a gun even if he gets released. Now, I will say this, man. In the current rap environment, I know I shoot NBA Youngboy a lot of bail all the time. But in the current rap environment, I can't blame him. But he knows that he can't hold a gun. So, man, he knows he's not supposed to be anywhere near a gun. So I can't shoot him any real bail on that, to be honest, man. He knows what he's supposed to do and what he's not. Now, to keep it real, though, when I was looking for the document and I saw that it changed over to Louisiana. Now, it started in California. It was held by their court. They closed all that out and it switched over to Louisiana. And what I saw was I saw his name there, and I looked at it and I said, hold up, man. They got this Joker's name. They got his real name, Kentrell Gaulden. Then they got NBA Youngboy, man, and they put it as Youngboy NBA under the document versus the United States court, man. That's pretty odd, man. Where you see the rapper name there. I don't know. It's probably one of the first times I've ever seen that, and that just paints another picture. Now, NBA Youngboy, man, he's got a fight on his hands, obviously. Now, Louisiana does have a history of locking up rappers. They don't care about how famous you are or none of that, man. Examples of that being Mac. He was at the height of his career. His career was kind of on the decline. But then you had other artists, who else from you had? Well, I don't want to talk about, man. We're going to leave that one alone. But you've had other rappers who have been locked up. C-Murder, that's probably the best example. C-Murder is a great example, and Mac are two good examples, you know what I mean? Who have been locked up in Louisiana, and, it just ain't looking good for him, man, because they don't play there, and that's where he's going to be tried and everything. Shoot, man, I don't know, man. I don't know on this one, man. Well, man, I'm just wishing the best for NBA Youngboy. Hopefully he can get some type of situation together to where he can fight this and get a reasonable deal. And, man, don't forget, man, there was pictures flying around all weekend. And it basically showed NBA Youngboy allegedly. I'm not sure if that was NBA Youngboy. I'm going to go on record and say that. I don't know. It looked like a guy who looked like NBA Youngboy, but he was like holding a Uzi or something like that. It was like, I was like, what? So I mean, that's almost all the proof that they need. And there's a whole bunch of attorneys online, and they've been talking about those pictures and how those. I mean, those are a pretty bad look if that's really what's in the discovery and in the case file, man. So man, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Do you think NBA Youngboy has a fighting chance in this trial, or do you think that, man, it's pretty much a done deal with the pictures, with his bond getting rejected, and basically him having to stay up in jail until his trial, man? It just ain't looking good. Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.